All right, all right. Good morning. Welcome to UC Davis's Master's of Science in Forensic Science information session. My name is Tiffany Thompson, and I am the enrollment coach for this program. I'm going to start off with just kind of giving you an idea of what to expect during today's webinar. So we will start off with introductions, and then we will dive into the program, give you sort of an overview, snapshot, talk a little bit about the curriculum, dive into the admissions requirements as well as the application materials. I'll briefly discuss research and publication and talk about the tuition costs and financial aid. We're going to open up an opportunity at the end for questions. So if at any point during this presentation you do have any questions, there's a Q&A box in there. Go ahead and drop the questions in. There's a chance I will answer your question throughout the presentation, but if not, go ahead and drop it in there. We have some guests with us today as well, which I'm super excited about. As I had mentioned, I am Tiffany Thompson. I'm the enrollment coach. I will work with you if you have any questions about the application process. So how to submit your application, specific questions, maybe about your specific courses you've taken or anything along those lines. And we have Dr. Ashley Hall on this webinar as well. She's the program director. She is a wealth of knowledge and is a resource for us today. So if you have any questions, particularly about the program or what to expect during your time in this program, she's available. And then we have Aaliyah Middleton as a graduate coordinator. This is not technically the, did I get that right? As well. So we might have some student panelists jump on here too, which would be great. So if you have any questions from the perspective of a student, they are a resource to you as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So I wanted just to briefly talk about UC Davis's campus. So UC Davis campus, if you aren't from around here, is in the middle of everywhere. We are conveniently located within driving distance to some of the most beautiful places in California. So whether you want to spend time on beautiful Lake Tahoe, spend a day at the Pacific Ocean coastline, or head to the hustle and bustle of city life in San Francisco, there's never a shortage of things to do. All right, so let's dive right in. I want to first provide you with a snapshot of our degree at a glance. So applications are open, and the priority deadline to submit your application is February 1st. The degree itself consists of 12 classes plus a thesis. Within those 12 classes is 54 total quarter units. You can attend as a full-time student, which is 9 or more units a quarter, or you can attend as a part-time student, which is 5 or less units per quarter. So what makes our program unique? We are the only research-focused Master's in Forensic Science program in California, and we are the only Forensic Science Master's program within the UC systems. UC Davis is ranked first in the nation for diversity, inclusiveness, and internationalization. All right, so I want to provide you our program at a glance. So our Master's of Science in Forensics is a research-focused master's with hands-on labs and faculty mentorship. So we provide flexible enrollment. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and. We provide flexible enrollment, which is, so it could take you 2 to 3 years, depending if you go full-time or part-time. And we have 2 specialized tracks, which we'll dive more into. We have the forensic criminalistics track and the forensic DNA track, which are our 2 specialized tracks after the core curriculum. So the program itself consists of your core curriculum, which is what everybody takes, and then your specific track, whether it be the criminalistic or the DNA track. When applying, it is a good idea to have an idea of which track you want to take, but you do not have to commit to a track right off the bat if you aren't sure which one you want. You'll have a team of people that will help narrow that down for you. We're going to go ahead and briefly discuss both tracks here, but I would like to take some time to view them. I would recommend, that you take some time to view them in more detail on our website. So first, let's talk about the criminalistic track. So this track centers more on instrumental analytical chemistry, trace evidence toxicology. The aim is to prepare students for a forensic casework in both government and private crime labs in areas beyond DNA. So, to better understand the difference between this track and the DNA track, the criminalistic track asks the question, what is this substance or material? So, you'll get a heavy use of lab instruments, broad exposure to many types of evidence. The DNA track, which is different than the criminalistic track, focuses on biology and DNA evidence. You will learn to analyze biological samples such as blood, saliva, and hair, just to name a few. You will learn DNA extraction, profiling, and population genetics. This will prepare you for roles as a DNA analyst or a technical lead. So, to better understand the difference between this track and the criminalistic track, I always like to ask the question, whose DNA is this? So let's discuss the core curriculum. Your entire degree will consist of 54 units, in which 18 of those units will be core curriculum. These are courses that everybody takes regardless of which track you choose. So you can see the list of the curriculum here. We have the forensic science fundamentals, homicide crime scene investigation, your seminar series, and the forensics case report. For the criminalistic track, you'll take specific courses such as forensic statistics, human identification, analysis of toxicants, and then your laboratory course. In addition, you'll have your thesis research as well as electives, which we'll talk briefly about. In both tracks, you'll have a thesis research as well. For your DNA track course, you can see here you'll take molecular techniques, forensic DNA analysis, population genetics, and then your laboratory course, as well as your thesis and an elective. Again, I'm briefly going over these classes. There's obviously a lot of meat to these on our website. It gives a better description of it. If you have any questions about any specific coursework, or if you're not really sure that you understand the difference between the two, I usually recommend going in and looking at the individual courses and reading through the course outcomes. It's going to give you a good idea of what you will learn, and that might spark a better understanding or interest of what you want to do, what you want to pursue, which track. And then again, your thesis research as well as your electives. So there are a handful of electives you can take. There's no way I'm going to be able to get into all of these today. As you can see here, there's a long but dynamic list of options. I will briefly show you these options here, but again, you can view all of these electives on our website. Just wanted to give you an idea of some of the options that you have, such as like forensic photography, transmission genetics, human genetics, combustion. Those are just a few, but again, there's a long list here. Lots of really good resources on our website for you to go in and look at this ahead of time to see what might interest you. All right. All right, so now we have briefly discussed the program and the courses that you can expect to take within the program. Let's discuss the admissions requirements. So we require a degree in either a physical or natural science. I get asked this question a lot. It is important that you have that science background to be successful in this program. So that is a pretty hard requirement. And then we have our GPA requirement, which is a minimum of a 3.0 average cumulative GPA. Applications that lack this preparation may be asked to make up deficiencies before consideration for admissions. We have course prerequisite requirements. So applicants must have completed the minimum equivalent of the following UC Davis courses. I say minimum equivalent because I also get asked this a lot. You don't have to have taken your courses at UC Davis, but you need to have taken an equivalency of these courses. So they may not have the same titles. They likely won't if you didn't go to Davis. But as long as it's an equivalency, you'll be fine. So general chemistry with lab, organic chemistry with lab, physics with lab, calculus, statistics. And then if you're doing the DNA track, we'd like to see biology there as well. And then the specific unit requirements are listed here. Again, they're on our website as well. And then our English language proficiency. So applicants from countries whose official language is not English must provide respective language proficiency scores. Now, keep in mind that applicants who have completed a degree at an institution where English is the sole language of instruction are exempt from this requirement. All right, so how do you apply? So our applications are submitted online through our grad studies website. You can see the link there, grad.ucdavis.edu/apply. Applications are now open. We have a priority deadline is February the 1st. So if you can get your applications in by then and completed, that would be priority. That would be best. There are five major material requirements or five major requirements in the application. I'm going again to briefly discuss these, but you can find, like I keep saying, more depth on our website as well. There's also some really good resources on our website and hints of how to write different portions of your application. So I would definitely use that as a resource. So first is our online application. This will consist of the personal history statement and the statement of purpose. And then you'll have your academic transcript. So UC Davis does require academic records from each college level institution that you have attended. So including study abroad courses, community college courses, anything along those lines. You'll be instructed to upload copies of your transcripts after you've submitted your online application. 3 letters of recommendation. So we require 3 letters of recommendation to complete the application. Letters must be submitted electronically by the recommender via the online application system. So don't go and ask your professor, hey, can I have a letter of recommendation? Have them hand it to you and expect you to submit it. It needs to be submitted directly from the recommender. This is really important. Letters of recommendation should be written by individuals who are familiar with your academic work and interests. So it's important to have at least one professor and or an employer if you have worked in the forensic sector. And then your examination scores. GRE scores are not required, but those official language proficiency scores are required for applicants that meet those criteria who where English is not their primary language. Scores need to be less than 2 years old. I don't know if I mentioned that, so keep that in mind as well. And then your application fee. You must submit your non-refundable application fee to have a fully submitted application. So our forensic science graduate program emphasizes research and hands-on lab work that reinforces your coursework. So you'll conduct like innovative research with acknowledged experts in the field and leading academic professionals. This research data and interpretation are the basis for your written thesis, which is presented in an oral defense. You will build your own research around your passions, but our faculty advisors have a very diverse array of interests and expertise. You can view that on our website. It makes it really easy to connect with an engaged advisor to support your thesis. So some examples of some past research projects our graduates have conducted are, alcohol, chemistry, DNA, entomology, fingerprinting, firearms, trace evidence, and much more. You can view some of those published research directly on a website as well. Let's just take a quick glance at the careers that our graduates tend to go into. So a master's degree from UC Davis will give you the knowledge, the network, the experience to advance your career in a variety of roles, including forensic scientist, crime scene technician, forensic analyst, forensic technician, crime scene investigator. You can see here that half of our students work in a crime lab. So that's where a large portion of our students pursue their careers. 30% work as a forensic science professional, and then the remaining either go on to professional school, beyond, or some non-related field, or they just chose not to disclose what they were doing. All right, so let's talk program cost. The Forensic Science Graduate Program is a self-supporting degree program. So self-supporting programs and students are not eligible to receive financial support from state funding sources. We'll talk about some other financial aid options. The program itself costs $903 per unit. You can find graduate, student research, or GSR, teaching assistant, or reader positions via our Graduate Studies UC Davis website. You can look there. You are eligible, of course, to apply for any and accept any campus positions that are open to the public, including like permanent long-term positions. If you are enrolled in at least 5 units per quarter, you might be eligible for federal financial aid and or educational loans through FAFSA. So if you're familiar with that process. If not, again, I can work with you to try to help you get more answers on anything financial aid related. All right. So that concludes just the introductory webinar, which is kind of what I like to call it. But we're going to dive into one of my favorite parts, which is answering your questions. I'm going to leave my contact information up here on the slide while you guys start typing away at those questions. And if you have any specific questions, let's say like I took this course at this college or anything that's really personal to you, shoot me an email or schedule a call with me on my Calendly. That's going to be the best way then to try to answer tons of like individual questions. But if you have any questions that you think would be good in this forum, we are happy to answer them. So I'm going to go and open up the Q&A box here and see if questions come through. And it always takes a minute, I know. So we'll just hang out here in the silence until some questions start to come through. Or, Dr. Hall, if there's anything you would like to add while we're waiting for questions to come in, feel free to unmute yourself and add anything.
Okay. Well, you covered so much. Thank you, Tiffany. Um, Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that this has been helpful in answering your questions, and we're here to answer any questions you may have. I'll just elaborate on something that Tiffany said. We are the only research-based Master of Forensic Science program in the state of California, so research is a huge component. And we feel like that is an important part of making you more attractive to employers when you go to find a job because you've spent at least a year on the bench doing graduate level independent research. If you visit our website, you'll see we have a very large grad group. Now, those are faculty who are associated with the program from across campus. They're in many different departments. And you can try and work with any one of them or any faculty on campus, really, but these are the ones who've committed to our program. And if you have a look, you can see there are many, many different areas of research that you can go into. One question I get asked a lot is, do I have to come up with a project on my own? And the answer is no, you do not. You do not have to come up with a thesis project on your own. If you have an idea you'd like to work with or an area you'd like to work in, bring it to us and we can help you work through it. See if it's possible to do, if there's a lab that can support that, or if you have no idea what you want to do, you can just come and start listening to faculty talks and go talk to them. So come in with a really solid idea of what you want to do, come in with no idea of what you want to do. That's fine. We're here to help you through that process. So don't be intimidated by that. And I see we have questions coming in, so I'll stop talking.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go through these questions. So, do the minimum requirements include all three intro physics courses and organic chemistry? This is 8B with lab.
Okay, so you need to have taken one course in physics with lab and then one course in organic chemistry with lab.
Great.
I'm not sure if that answered the question.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And if not, they can go ahead and
Okay.
re-ask. Yeah. I heard you don't have student housing. Do you recommend looking for housing after we apply and get accepted into the program, or should we start looking well before that? Also, is there any assistance available to help students find housing once they're accepted into the program? I can answer that. No, we don't have housing on campus, but we have a lot of resources that you can go in, like different, what do you call them? Like I almost said like social media, but that's probably not the right answer. Where you can go in and look at some of the places that students often house around the area. So it's definitely a college town. There's lots of opportunity for housing, but it's just not on the main campus.
A lot of our students live in Orchard Park. That's not, it's a lot of grad students live there. I don't know how it's affiliated with the university, but there is an affiliation. You need to be a full-time student to live there. And also, once we have our incoming class, we start an email chain with everybody on it. And that class usually then forms a channel on some other platform. And so you can get in touch with your incoming classmates to talk about housing. And we do hold some info sessions, not like these, but more informal, where we bring in current students who can answer the questions. And I do have current students who are happy to have me share their contact info and talk with you about housing and how they found it and what they've done. So we have resources from people who are here already once you get to that point.
Yeah, great. How much do students typically pay out of pocket? Are there more financial aid resources available for master's programs?
I can't answer part of that. So, just like with your undergrad, you submit a FAFSA, and then the financial aid office puts together a package for you. So we don't have anything to do with those packages. So I'm not aware of how much is done, but just like with your undergrad, where you're given a package to cover your tuition and everything, you're given a package, and here's your family contribution, and here's where this money is coming from.
Yeah. All right. Is it possible to take any of the prerequisite courses while you're going through the program, or at least taking it at UC Davis before your program begins?
The answer is yes. We allow you to take up to two of the prerequisite courses in your first 2 quarters here. The best thing to do is if you don't have them, you've been accepted, you need a prerequisite. The easiest thing to do is take it in the summer before you get here. Then you won't have to worry about fitting that in around your graduate work. But if that isn't possible, once you get here, you can take it. You do not have to take it at UC Davis. You can take it at a community college. You can take it online, as long as it's an accredited university.
You get asked that one a lot. That's a good question. They're all good questions. Okay, so this one will be for you, Dr. Hall. I was interested in the program from finding an internship for corner program that stated it works directly with UC Davis. What program to track would be best for that career field or forensic anthropology career?
The DNA track. mm, I'm going to have to walk that back. It depends on what part of it you're interested in. Um, the more biology part of it would definitely be DNA track. But if you're more interested in the chemistry of it, isotopic analysis, different soil analysis, different things like that, that would be the criminalistics track. A couple of the professors from the Department of Anthropology are on our grad group, and they actively take students. In fact, one of them takes one of our students every summer to an overseas location to do a dig. Last year it was Germany, so and then it was Poland before that. So if you are interested in that question, I can put you in touch with them now, or we can wait till we move further into the application process, and I can put you in touch with them. So the answer, long answer, I know, but the real answer is it depends on exactly what you're interested in. Sorry about that.
No, that's great. And it's usually how I answer that too. So perfect. Um, there is an area of interest, which I've gotten asked this recently, but an area of interest essay on the application that has you choose between four different, so crime scene investigation, forensic biology, DNA, forensic chemistry, toxicology, and forensic firearms tool marks. Right now, we've just mentioned the criminalistic versus DNA. So how can we go about this essay to justify our answer? For instance, what if we were on the fence about forensic chemistry versus biology? Where does the criminalistic versus DNA track fit? Oof, did you get
Yeah.
all that?
Okay, I'm going to start with it and just pop in if I'm not on the right track to answer the question that you want to hear. So you can come in not knowing exactly which track you want to go on. You can take time to decide. There's no limit, but if you don't decide within the first couple of quarters, you may fall behind in your coursework and take longer than 2 years to graduate. Um, so it fits in. You can have an interest in both. You'll need to pick one track, but you can still do all of the electives from the other track, all of the courses from the other track as electives. So you can take all the courses that we have. You don't have to necessarily decide, I'm going this track. I don't get to take these courses. So in your essay, I would write it this way. My interests are broad. I'm interested in both biology and chemistry. Here's what I like. I'm planning on, in my first quarter, taking classes in both to see which one speaks to me, to see where my research interests lie. Does that get at the question?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the only thing I want to add to that is because I get asked this a lot, but sometimes it's good for us to be able to see, or for Dr. Hall to be able to see kind of your general area of interest, because every once in a while we get somebody who comes in with a very specific area that we may not be able to match with an advisor. I mean, usually that's not the case, but it does happen. And so it just helps us to be able to see if we're a good fit for you in a lot of ways. And so for the area of interest, you don't have to say, okay, this is what I want to do, and there's no wiggle room. And shoot, I said I wanted to do DNA, but I actually, it's not that serious, or it's not that's not the purpose of it, I should say. So it just gives us a better picture of you as a student, where your interest lies, and helps us to be able to match you best with professionals in that field. All right. What if I don't have an OChem completed? Can I still be accepted? Yeah, like she had spoken, you could potentially take that prior to starting in the course or as part of that. I guess your first quarter really, right? Would be it. So did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's good.
All right. I'm in a semester system college. I've looked into the core classes and noticed that we need 2 semesters of Gen Chem and the lab, but my school only provides the second part of Gen Chem, but with no lab. Will I be able to take those core classes at a community college?
Yes.
Yes. I think I understand that question. Yes, you can. And there is, even if you take a semester base, the units translate a little bit different, but it's okay if you went to a semester based school. If I'm getting a bachelor's degree from UC Davis, do I still need to provide test scores for English language proficiency? No, right? Yeah, no.
Be in a university that whose official language is
It's
English.
English, yeah. Do all letters of recommendation need to be submitted by the deadline, or can my recommender still complete letters after I've submitted my application?
They can still submit after. We cannot move your application forward until we have all the elements of the application. We can look at it when we're meeting as an admissions committee, but we can't make an official decision. And in our grad studies does not officially let us move it forward. That's not a program decision, that's a university decision. But we'll take them anytime, and your reviewers will get reminder emails. And we will, if we haven't received it, we will also poke you about it. So we'll follow up.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we know you can't control that piece of it, but I would definitely set the precedence when you let them know that there's a time frame. Put a little bit of pressure on them. Nothing wrong with that. To try to get them to get it in sooner than later. So, all right. Is
Yes,
what was that?
somebody who gets asked to write reference letters, sometimes just forget. And I do appreciate a nice, gentle reminder.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is there a UC Davis undergraduate program that is focused on forensics or an undergraduate program that you recommend for continuing into the MS in forensics from UC Davis?
Um, I'm missing the question.
So they essentially want to know, there's no bachelor's degree in forensics at UC Davis, but they're asking, what would you recommend taking as an undergraduate degree at Davis specifically to prepare
Ah,
for
yes.
getting into this program?
Well, it depends on what you're interested in. So if you're interested in more biology, DNA, anything in molecular biology is good. There are a whole slew of choices within the biology department that focus in molecular biology and genetics. On the chemistry side, if you're more interested in criminalistics, toxicology, drug analysis, a degree in the chemistry department, analytical chemistry, physical chemistry, biochemistry, something like that's a good degree.
So will I be let known what classes I still need on my application? Once my application has been fully processed, I'll answer that. You should know that you've taken the classes prior to submitting. If you're not sure if your classes match, you're welcome to send me a copy of your unofficial transcripts, and I can briefly look at that. But you should be able to go in and see your transcripts and know if you've taken those classes. We won't necessarily like say, "Hey, you didn't submit for this." It would just be expected that you have the transcripts and that you would communicate to us if you're short. Would I still get financial aid for the program if I only qualify for the California Dream Act application? I would say anything financial aid related. Reach out to the when you get your financial aid package. Reach out and speak to the advisors there specifically. I don't want to speak too much to FAFSA and say something wrong. Um, so I'm going to leave that there, but don't let that hinder you from applying. There's all sorts of resources available. All right, this is directly to you, Dr. Hall. This is Dr. Ashley Hall. I would love information to get in touch with you. I'm interested in cold cases and want to do work for natural disasters and identifying lost loved ones. I guess that's not really a question. So um, go ahead and email myself, or you can email Dr. Hall directly, and I will. I mean, if you're wanting to get into touch with her, we'll make that happen. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a question, but it was more just an interesting.
I'll put my email address in the chat box, and also on our website you can find me too, or email Tiffana and
Yeah, actually, I think I have your contact information. Hey, here in that front. So let's can do that too. Boom, boom. Yep, there we go.
thank you.
Yeah. Are you partnered with local precincts and crime labs in this area? If so, what do you usually work on?
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, a number of our instructors are forensic scientists working in the local crime labs. We have our strongest connection is with the Sacramento County DA's lab. Um, our instructors, we have a number of instructors from there, and our students take some of their classwork there so that they can be in their lab. We have a strong connection placing interns in that lab. They open up a solicitation for it every year, and our students have been pretty successful. We also have relationships with all the local crime labs around us. We have a number of instructors, a number of guest speakers, and we collaborate on research projects.
All right, for the area of interest essay, we need to pick one option and we need to justify it. So if we talk about wanting to see what would be more interesting, for instance, DNA versus chem, and don't strongly defend the option that we choose because we're on the fence between the two, would that make our application weaker?
No, what we're looking for is for you to be honest. And if you haven't decided, you haven't decided. You can talk about the reasons for both and why you like both of them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Just we want to hear your explanation for the choice that you've made.
yeah. Would learning bioinformatics and some computer language help if we want to go into the DNA track?
Yes, it always helps. It is not a requirement. None of our required coursework is bioinformatic in nature, but it is a growing discipline in the field. So you don't necessarily need it to be successful in this program, but if you have the opportunity, do it.
Yeah. Is it helpful if we do undergrad research to prepare for this program?
Yes. It gives you an idea what research looks like. Research is different than coursework in a lab, and it exposes you to it, gets you into the lab to see how it works. It's not a requirement, but it's always a good idea if you can do it.
All right, I'm a UC Santa Cruz student and I've taken population genetics. Will my UCSC course count for your population genetics elective or does it need to be from UC Davis?
It needs to be the one from UC Davis because it's graduate level and it's a core course in our program.
Also, do courses from other UC schools usually count for your minimum requirements? Um, yeah, I mean, I think you're asking your undergraduate requirements. I think my UCSC courses should qualify. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's an accredited university, it qualifies for to meet the uh, prerequisite requirements. All right, that is the last question, but that doesn't mean that a few more won't come in the next minute or two. We'll sit tight. If there's anything that either of you guys want to add, feel free while we wait, or we can just hang out.
Yeah, I haven't given Aaliyah a chance to talk at all. Do you want to
Yeah.
say something?
No, I don't have much to add right now. I'm just happy to be here and I look forward to reading your application. I also want to highlight that we have a student in the program on the call right now. The other Aaliyah, her name is Amanda. I don't know if you guys can see right here. So if you have any questions about like your experience, what you might experience in the program, feel free to drop it in the chat.
Julia. For the area of interest essay, is it recommended to pick one area of interest and focus on that, or is it okay to write about multiple research interests?
It is okay to write about multiple research interests.
Yeah. We get a lot of questions about that essay.
Well, listen, what we're really looking for is an honest essay and just tell us what your motivation is, right? Why is it that you want to do this? Why do you want to join this program? Whether or not it's one specific, very, very focused area or it's something in general, that's fine.
All right. Well, I don't see any other questions coming through. And so I'm going to assume that we've answered them all. Oh, see, spoke too soon.
Huh.
Do you provide any lab tours or preview days to be able to see what the program is like firsthand? We did last year. I mean, I wasn't there, but we did do a virtual lab tour, and we do plan to do that again this year. Yeah.
And if you want to come and have a look at the lab, so we don't have a formal campus visit day or anything like that, but you can schedule a campus visit and then include us as part of it. Just get in touch with one of us and we will be happy to give you a tour to sit down and chat with you. If you come on a day where we have class, you're welcome to sit in on the class. Last year, we had somebody visit on the day that one of my students did a thesis defense. So they got to sit in on the thesis defense, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. All right. Will we be able to see and save these slides after the webinar? It will be uploaded on our website. You can see this. We're not going to send you the slide decks, but you'll be able to see them up on the whole video presentation. All right. My school has no resources for forensic science, so I'm trying to find my own sources and see how I can better prepare for this field of program. I'm trying to go into research and I want to do the DNA track. What research topics would be helpful?
Um, to get ready for the DNA check? Well, first of all, you don't have to come in knowing anything. That's not a requirement. We'll teach you once you get here. If you want to look into DNA, maybe a good review of the history of DNA in forensic science. More current topics would include things like next generation sequencing, things like phenotyping, things like activity level evaluations, rapid DNA that is on-site analysis. So maybe find a paper that is on current topics in DNA. But once you get here, one of the first classes is in the fundamentals class is a lecture on the history of DNA. And then in all of your classes, we not only give you current topics, we walk you through the history of what's happened.
Yeah, you'll be set up pretty nice your first couple quarters in our program to have a better understanding. So very good. All right. I did not hear the answer to the previous questions about being told what classes I might still need if it is discovered that I still need to complete my prerequisites. Could I have the answer and repeat it again, please? So, um, yes, we don't necessarily alert them, correct, that they have unmet prerequisites. It would just be that your application didn't meet the qualifications. So you would want to go into your application knowing that you've met the prerequisites. So the prerequisites are listed clearly on our website. If you're not sure exactly what class, like if you've taken a class and it's not titled the same thing, you can email me and I can let you know, like, yeah, this will, or you can email Dr. Hall and she'll let you know, this will meet that requirement. You're fine. So I would be more proactive on the front end. Don't just like submit it and hope like, I think I have it all. Be more proactive on the front end. Make sure that you have those prerequisites completed. And if you don't, then you need to let us know that you're aware of that and what your plan is to getting that completed. So it's not like I'm just going to submit my transcripts and we're going to let you know. It doesn't really work. It's not the process. So. What would you say the acceptance rate is, or how competitive is the program?
Our acceptance rates over the past couple, I'm sorry, do you know the answer to that?
No, go for it.
Over the past couple of years have been around 85%.
I think our average incoming GPA is 3.6. Did I say that right? Or 3.8? Okay. 3.6 is our average incoming GPA. I'm just paused
Right
because the
now,
question.
right now we're in a period of growth, and so we are opening up more seats, and so we are accepting more students, and we will continue to do so.
Yeah, that's great. Give another minute. Do you offer application fee waivers? We do not. All right, looks like some people are actually starting to hop off. So I'm going to take that cue. Thank you so much for everybody who jumped on this, attended. Again, if you have any follow-up questions, I'm a resource for you. You can schedule a one-on-one meeting with me through my calendar um, and ask me that way. So, sorry, one last question popped in. If I reach out with my school email, will it work with your Davis email? School email. I'm not sure I know what you're asking. I'm sorry. Um, Not sure. Shoot me an email. I will help you out. And otherwise, you guys have a great rest of the week. We look forward to seeing your applications come through. Again, we're here. If you have any questions, reach out. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Hall and Aaliyah as well.